Hello and welcome to Jessie Bear Book Club. We like to talk about historical fiction, wild cards, Game of Thrones, and much, much more. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Today I want to talk about the book A Respectable Trade by Philippa Gregory, first published in 1995. I have read this book on 3 separate occasions. The first time I read this book was when I was 15. And only starting to discover the joys of historical fiction. And the other 2 times I read this book were more recently, when I was going through a bit of a good book drought. This is not your typical bodice-ripping 18th century romance novel, with all its cliches and oversexing. So if you're looking for another Whiteacre, this is not the book for you. This book covers the very difficult subject of slavery in late 1700s Bristol. The main character, Mehuru, who is a newly captured African slave, is the best and most fully rounded character in the whole book. He is obviously the most intelligent character and the most well-educated character, and this shines through all his struggles. The main female character, and Mehuru's love interest and owner, Frances Scott, however, I feel is very bland. There is very little substance to her, apart from being upper class, having brilliant manners, and being extremely sickly the entire book. She does seem to have a good eye for interior decoration, however. The romance between Frances and Mehuru is nice, and it gives them both joy in an otherwise joyless world, but it seems to be very one-sided, as when Mehuru first meets Frances, he thinks of her as extremely ugly. He describes her in his inner monologue as having a childlike body with hair like riverweed. So I find their relationship almost an afterthought on the part of Philippa Gregory, though the significance of their relationship and love is not lost on me. The other 2 protagonists in this book are Joshua Cole, Frances's husband, and Sarah Cole, Joshua's sister. Their sibling dynamic is an interesting read, as Sarah is the classic overprotective older sister. The first time I read this book when I was 15, I found Sarah Cole overbearing and horrible, but the second and third time I read through this book, I found her cold and very pragmatic. She is someone who has been shaped by poverty and hunger. She truly believes that blood is thicker than water, and money is the most important thing in the world. Joshua Cole is a small dockside trader who is prepared to gamble everything to join the big players in Bristol. He is the epitome of a social climber, and part of his climbing is his marriage to Frances, who he hardly knows and has very little in common with, apart from wanting to establish a comfortable townhouse together. Frances, for her part, finds her husband extremely uncouth and boring, but understands she is very unlikely to do any better. I did really enjoy reading how the established Bristol merchants scammed poor naive Joshua out of his money. However, though I pity him, I cannot help but think he got what he deserved. The final chapter of this book, where Joshua and Sarah are fighting with the bailiffs, is extremely funny. The last chapter, where Frances dies giving birth to Mehuru's child, is sad, but she seemed predestined to have a very sad life. You know, throughout the books, Frances and Mehuru's relationship will end in nothing but grief for both of them. I cannot talk about this book, however, without talking about the absolutely horrific rape scene where Sir Charles Fairlie forces himself upon the slave woman. The pain I feel for that poor woman, especially knowing so little about her apart from the fact she named herself Dive Shane, and commits suicide due to the attack perpetrated on her. It gives me the shivers even talking about it here, but it is a very well written scene, and a piece of history we should not gloss over. Honoria, Sir Charles's daughter, is a very interesting character, however. I would have liked to have seen more of her in this book. Vapid in vain, she couldn't help but spike my interest. I was getting serious Scarlett O'Hara vibes from her. While doing my research for this video and brushing up on all my publishing dates and so on, I discovered there is also a TV adaptation of A Respectable Trade, made in 1998, by the BBC. It stars Ariane Baccarat as Mehuru, Emma Fielding as Francis Scott, and Warren Clarke as Joshua Cole. It has 7.6 on IMDb. I'm going to see if I can buy it on DVD, as I wouldn't mind watching it, and then of course I can do a review of it. I managed to find a trailer of A Respectable Trade on YouTube, but it was in Spanish. I could understand it, and I think they have changed quite a few facts from the book. That doesn't matter as long as the essence is still there, I think. And the BBC do normally tend to make very good adaptations. If anybody has already seen this miniseries, please let me know what you think of it in the comments below. I would give this book a 6 out of 10. It is a good page-turner and a brilliant holiday book. However, it doesn't stand up very well to a second read, unlike many of Philippa Gregory's other works. But what do you think? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. And as always, this is just my opinion. Please remember to help out and like this video if you enjoyed it. You can also follow me on Instagram at Lady Jessica Riddell and on Twitter at Jessams. I post on Twitter regularly about my videos. If you want to see more book reviews, character comparisons and fan theories, please subscribe to Jessie Bear Book Club. I try to post a new video at least once a week. See you next time on Jessie Bear Book Club. Bye!